to have her go on Fox News and to then decide that she wanted to send a threat to me, it was wrong. Because here it is, she is the highest law enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information, and they are believing that simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing, that she then wanted to then politicize something that should not be politicized. I don't like Elon Musk. I'm gonna say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating above the law. For whatever reason, just because he has a lot of money, more money than everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him because he is a problem. And so you never should have somebody that is sitting that high and is going to sit up here and threaten a sitting member of Congress when she knew good and well, if she watched the entire thing, that I specifically told protesters to make sure you consult with lawyers, just like I've told protesters over and over and over in the history of me advising people to go out and exercise their constitutional right. The fact that there are other sitting members that have received letters of threat from this new DOJ tells me that they are about retribution and they are not about following the law.
This woman, Jasmine Crockett, and I want you all to affirm the fact that I said in January, she's the one to watch this year. It's loony. Okay, she comes out and says, for my birthday, I want to see Elon Musk taken down. And that's the day of the big event on March 29th. Now, she better be very careful. And you don't pick a fight with the Attorney General of the United States. And you do not say to the Attorney General of the United States, your boss is basically a jerk. OK, because then the Attorney General is in a position where she has to defend her boss.
We are not coming off these charges. We are looking at everything, especially if this is a concerted effort. This is domestic terrorism. And Maria, now you have this Congresswoman Crockett who is calling for attacks on Elon Musk on her birthday. Let's take him out on my birthday, she says. And yet she turns and says, oh, I'm not calling for violence. Well, she is an elected public official. And so she needs to tread very carefully because nothing will happen to Elon Musk, and we're going to fight to protect all of the Tesla owners throughout this country, and it's basic safety. Once again, domestic terrorism is going to come to a stop in our country.
I think the biggest mistake we could make is to treat this as though it's a political issue, as though there are two opposing points of view here. This is a national security issue, and I appreciate your question, Ellie, and respect your legal analysis, but I just don't, that question is asked and answered. Of course this is dangerous. I use Signal. It's not preloaded on your phone in the sense that everybody's already automatically in your group chat. I mean, I treat my own Signal chats with more care and more discretion than our Secretary of Defense. That is a huge deal. And to your point, no, of course the DOJ is not going to investigate this. Pam Bondi is too interested in what Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is saying about Elon Musk.
Okay, so if you talk about taking somebody out or taking them down or knocking somebody over the head and knocking them over the head hard, are those threats of violence?
Yeah, Sean, it is. And you know, after she said that about Elon, she said, well, I didn't mean violence. But, however, your words have consequences. And what happened after she said that about Elon Musk, she's a Texan in her own home state. After she said that, this morning, 3 explosive devices were found in Austin, Texas. So she needs to unequivocally denounce the violence. She must apologize immediately, not only to all Texans, but to our country, to the American shareholders of Tesla, because she is promoting violence. And then you showed the clip of what she said about Senator Cruz. I believe she probably will be censured by Congress for saying that.
If you have an issue with terrorism, maybe you should talk to your boss about locking back up those guys that he let out that participated in January 6th.
When Pam Bondi, though, says, you know, tread carefully, what does that even mean?
Yeah. All it means is that she's attempting to get me to say, oh, I'm going to be scared and I'm just not going to say anything, because they are willing to literally break the law. I mean, that's what we've seen them do. They are ignoring court orders. They are ignoring what our own laws are. When we look at things such as impoundment, things like that, this entire administration is rogue. And this isn't about partisanship. I keep trying to tell people that we are living in the time of good versus evil, right versus wrong. And right now, when we are looking at the black letter of the law and they are deciding, I'm just going to ignore it, then they are wrong. That is clear as day. And right now, they are going after anyone who decides that they will challenge them, whether it's the judges that are sitting on the benches, whether it is lawyers that have decided that they were going to represent their clients to the best of their ability, and most of them won against Trump and his administration. Basically, they are trying to get rid of all voices of dissent.
There is something truly infuriating about a party that has spent years accusing the justice system of targeting them, only to then turn around and do exactly that. This time to protect men who are breaking the law, ignoring the Constitution, and stripping Americans of their rights. Pam Bondi, by the way, is a particularly insidious choice for the Trump administration, having already proved her unwavering loyalty to Donald Trump and willingness to accept cash for her ear. Terrifyingly, due process seems to be a thing of the past. Not content with disappearing and deporting legal permanent residents, the Trump administration is now floating the idea of deporting American citizens.
The president has discussed this idea quite a few times publicly. He's also discussed it privately. You're referring to the president's idea for American citizens to potentially be deported. These would be heinous, violent criminals who have broken our nation's laws repeatedly, and these are violent repeat offenders in American streets. The president has said if it's legal, right, if there is a legal pathway to do that, he's not sure. We are not sure if there is. It's an idea that he has simply floated.
And it's hard to believe they're not serious, especially when they've followed through on all of their worst promises in this area so far. This isn't about justice or national security. It's about power, raw power, and who they think deserves to have it. You'd think it'd be impossible to ignore the similarities between what Donald Trump and his administration are doing and what fascist regimes have done to consolidate power and crush dissent, and yet there are still people who think we can negotiate with these people. If we don't fight for people who are already being targeted, we're done. We can't wait for things to get worse when they're already worse than most of us could have possibly imagined.